Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lost in the Real. Today, I am so excited to be joined here with Dan from the Upside. Dan, thank you for joining me, Dan.
Hi, yes, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk about this film.
I am too. I am so excited to talk about Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe.
Someday, I'm going to discover all the secrets of the universe.
So, let's talk about it. Okay, Dan, so before we get started, just jumping into the movie and what we thought of it, please tell us what Aristotle and Dante is all about.
So, Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. It's based on the book by Benjamin Alir Sanz. It's set in 1987 El Paso. It's the tale of two teenage Mexican-American loners as they explore their friendship and the difficult road of self-discovery.
I love it.
Yeah.
So before we just get into all the nitty-gritty of everything, Dan, what were your overall thoughts of this movie?
I loved it. I thought it was very well done. Definitely some flaws here and there, but no, I loved it. I loved the two leads. I thought they did a really good job. I loved how charismatic they were, especially Dante. And yeah, so overall, I definitely liked it, and I definitely recommend it.
I will go with I loved it. I like so much about this movie, and you're right, there are a couple of flaws which we will talk about, but overall, just the feeling I had from this movie, it really gave me this just this feeling of angst, and it like set me back to those like teenage years, and it just really captured what's so great about the coming of age genre in general, not just the LGBTQ plus genre. So yeah, I mean, I love this film, and I'm so excited to get started. I figure we can probably talk about the cast first, which you kind of brought up a little bit, the two leads.
So we have Max Palacio as Aristotle. And we have Luis Gonzalez as Dante. So those are the two main leads.
Yeah, so I think that the two really capture these characters. And what I love about these characters is they are so different, but I definitely saw myself in both of them. I don't know about you. Did you?
Yes, I definitely, had parts of myself. I saw parts of myself in both of them. Especially Aristotle, I would say, he's kind of more they're both loners, but he's kind of more the reserved, one, and kind of struggling more with his identity.
Yeah.
That's what I definitely felt throughout the whole movie. I felt a big pull, I guess. I just felt more in line, I think, with Aristotle.
Okay, so you felt drawn to Aristotle a little bit more.
Yes, but I like love Dante. I thought he's just such a charismatic character that I think would have been very easy to be just annoying, but he does it so well.
Yeah, I think that out of the two actors, Max Palacio and then Luis Gonzalez, I think the two names are right. Yeah. I think Gonzalez is really able to capture that character perfectly. And I think that is a harder character to pull off because, like you said, he could have come off like a little bit annoying or over the top, like maybe like over the top feminine or gay or whatever, and he really just he captured all of those like archetypes, I guess you could say, but in a way that was just so him. It felt genuine, it felt exuberant, and I don't know, I just really connected with his performance. And even though, and we'll talk about this probably in a little bit, but he's not in the movie for a long period of time. This is definitely Aristotle's movie, not necessarily Dante's movie. But I loved his narration, and it really, like, you just missed him during those moments when you, and that's what Aristotle was feeling too. So I thought that was super effective with having that narration and him just like longing for Dante's company, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think the way I would relate to Dante is asking questions that are like, whoa, like,
yeah.
Because some of the questions he was asking were like very forward, and I could relate to that sometimes.
Yeah, there's definitely like he has no filter, and he's just like, hey, like, are you up to this right now? Because that's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys. But yeah, I was like a little surprised, but it just fits Dante's character so well.
It does.
And when it comes to Aristotle, all I could think of was that he's like the 1980s Mexican American James Dean. Like that's all I could think about. Like he's like a little bit rebellious, and he's frustrated and angry. He's like the character from Rebel Without a Cause in this movie. But it also explains to you why he is the way that he is and why he's so reserved, and he might not share his feelings, and he kind of keeps it all inside. So I don't know. I both characters I was just completely drawn to, and I love them. So now, what are your thoughts on the supporting cast? So there's Eva Longoria and Eugenio Derbez.
Yes, so they're good. I liked them for the most part. Like I don't think anyone really drew me in as much as the main two. And,
yeah.
The girls, those like mean girls, but like not. Because it seemed I didn't really care for their characters. I guess the performances were fine, but I just didn't care that much for their characters. Elena was fine, the girl that he kissed. But at the same time, that was all during the time when Dante wasn't on screen, and I was missing Dante.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I was shocked that was Eugenio Derbez. I did not realize it for like 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden I'm like, where is he in this movie? And then I'm like, oh my god, it's Aristotle's dad. Like I had no idea. He's unrecognizable in this role. Yes. I thought he was so good. He has a great moment at the end.
Yeah.
Also, Aristotle's mom is so good. I don't know what the actress's name is. I can add it in at the bottom. But she was so good. And also, Eva Longoria is in it as well as Dante's mom. And this kind of just brings me, I could kind of care less, like you said, about all of the other side characters. And this movie doesn't really care about those side characters as much, I guess you could say. They're just kind of like glimpses of these kind of like stereotypes almost. So they could have done that better. But I love what this movie did with the parental-child bond. And it's something that I don't see very often in coming-of-age films. I feel like with coming-of-age movies, it's either like it's just totally focused on the kids and the parents are an afterthought, or the parents are like in the background, and they're terrible parents, and you know they're just like, this is why the kids are so messed up because the parents are so messed up. But this movie really focuses on the parental-child bond, and for me, I really connected with that.
Yes, and it was such a positive bond, like you said. Usually they're like bad parents, but like this was pretty positive. Yeah, they had issues. You know, he has a hard time connecting to his dad, and then Dante says that he doesn't understand his mom sometimes. So there's that. But yeah, no, for the most part, it was a really nice, positive representation of a parent relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What I really took from it is that, you know, parents are, they like inherently want their kids to be as great as possible, but they're not perfect, and no parent is perfect. And you kind of see why Aristotle is the way that he is and Dante is the way that he is through his parents. And I don't know. I thought that was really effective in this film.
Yes.
So does this movie remind you at all of any other movies, or I kind of want to talk about like, what would we relate this film to with other LGBTQ plus films or coming of age films?
Heartstopper. I don't know.
Okay.
Heartstopper in a way. This is more like Heartstopper. Just the reason I love it so much is it's so happy and just like it's so perfect and positive. This at least has a mix of stuff, different stuff. A lot of mix of different. There were some bad things in here, and then some really sad, dark things, and love Simon in a way, just really because of the love letters. Yeah. So there's probably a bunch. What else? What would you?
For me, I kept relating it to two and comparing it to two different films. Number one, I was comparing it to Red, White, and Royal Blue because we just watched that and it just came out. And to me, I kept thinking like, because I like both of these movies, or you could say I love both of these movies. But this one felt like the heartfelt, poignant, contemplative version of like the gay love story, whereas Red, White, and Royal Blue kind of felt like the fantasy wish fulfillment, fun and frothy type of movie. If any of those words make any sense together.
I definitely see what you mean.
Yeah, so because I was thinking during this movie, I'm like, okay, there's been a lot of like gay romance like content out, like that's come out in like the last couple of months especially, and I'm like, is there room for another one, like so soon? And that's why I'm like, I feel like there's been a lot. So when I was watching this, I'm like, this is really providing something so very different than all of these other things are providing.
Yes.
And it really reminded me the most, this movie, of The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yes, I haven't watched that in a while, but that's a good comparison.
And the reason I say that is because, like, most coming of age movies, they take place during like a just like it's like a linear storyline, and it's like this one period of time. Whereas this movie and Perks of Being a Wallflower kind of take place over a long period of time, and it's covering all of these like milestones and firsts in these kids' lives. And that's kind of why they both remind me of each other, but I think they're both super effective in doing that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
What other things did you like about the film?
Like I said, it gets deep and it gets dark sometimes. I really liked that because it was like almost like some shocks, in there, like with Dante's brother and his brother's past.
Yes.
Like there was like a jaw-dropping moment, and I was like, oh my god, they went there, and it makes you sad and everything, and this was back in '86, and that kind of stuff still happened. '87. This was back in '87, and like that kind of stuff still happens today.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it almost felt like it was now. And in some ways, more than others, like there's a lot of acceptance of that, more than I expected in a film kind of set in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Like I said, the parents had a very positive relationship.
And I think that they did, and I don't want to give anything away. This is non-spoiler, but there's a reason why they are more understanding, and it's given a little bit later in the film, and that was brilliant because it makes it make a little more sense. Because yes, a lot of parents, especially very religious Mexican American parents, are not going to be okay with the gay thing. Especially in the 1980s. I thought that was a really brilliant addition to the story.
Yes, definitely. I love that they touched on all that, though, and like the hardships of self-discovery. And like I said, how relatable it is to today. Like that's really what I loved. Like that it was still, liked and disliked that we're still there. But there's some like positive things that I love, like the self-discovery and being accepting. But obviously there's negatives of why is this still happening today?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that this movie, even though it takes place in 1987, I think they do a really great job of making you feel like you're there, like you're transported into the 80s, but not in a way that just feels like way too on the nose. It's very like there's just some music from the 80s thrown in there and like some cars and like different things like that. It's not an overbearing 80s movie, which I really liked.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But it does feel like a movie that could also take place right now and still feel just as relevant in this day and age. So I think that kind of is a testament to this story.
Yeah, actually in a way that relates to another movie I just watched, Get Real.
Get Real, yes.
So that reminded me of Get Real in the sense that I felt Get Real also felt like it could be today.
Yeah.
They both kind of just feel like they could be today. They could be 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what makes me sad is that I feel like Red, White, and Royal Blue, this is also based on a popular book too, Aristotle and Dante, but like Red, White, and Royal Blue, everyone it gets to see it because it's on Amazon Prime and they did like a big push of it and stuff, and it's like this movie is from an independent studio, Blue Fox Entertainment, and I just don't feel like it's going to get as big of a push, and not as many people are going to seek it out, and that makes me sad because I think it's phenomenal.
I know. I liked this. I liked Red, and Royal Blue. I think I liked this more because this one just meant more to me, and it just I felt it more inside, and like at the end I felt sad or like happy even. You know, it was different emotions throughout the whole movie, but it just made me feel a certain way. And there is a sequel book to this one, so I don't know. Yeah.
I'm buying that right now.
I'm going to get the books soon because I really want to read them. And and just relive these two characters again. I might go see this in theaters again, to be honest.
Honestly, I would love to see this in theaters on the big screen. I recommend anyone seeing this in theaters on the big screen. Yeah. So with Red, White, and Royal Blue, I know I kind of talked about it being fun and frothy and stuff. And it is, and it's one of those movies I'll probably watch over and over again. But this one it leaves more of an emotional impact. And it captures that feeling of like when you're a kid and life is not moving fast enough, but it's also moving so fast at the same time, if that makes sense. Like it just that angst that you feel. Like this whole entire movie, I was like, Sarah from Smells Like Teen Angst has to watch this movie because it is so angsty. But like at the end, you were kind of saying like you felt sad, but you felt happy, you know, and that's like that's how I kind of like attribute how I felt when I was a kid. I was so happy, but also I was really sad for no reason at the same time, you know. And this movie makes you feel that.
Yes. Yep.
Any more things that we want to talk about that we enjoyed?
I love that there was like little, I mean, I guess it wasn't that, like, it was obvious at times, but like Dante gave Aristotle's father that book, and then you see the father reading it later, and then in the shoe thing, you see the shoes later. And then there's an ornament of the shoes. Mm-hmm. And you see that a few times throughout the movie, and it shows without telling you that, oh, this person still cares about that person. This person's still in mind. And I loved that. It was like little things at times, and I thought that was very well placed.
I love that you bring that up, Dan, because this movie is fantastic at foreshadowing. There are so many different things, like especially with like the Tia at the beginning of the movie, that kind of there's like a conversation that happens and you don't really know what it means, but you kind of know what it means. And like different things, like I love the fact that the shoes were hanging in his car. So many different little things that they bring back, and it really brings the whole movie together as a complete package.
Yes, and another one is he sees in the car in the driveway of Dante's, he sees like the name tag of the other person that's at his house, and he knows where to find that person later.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah. Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah, so there's so many like really cool directorial touches to this movie. Yeah. And another thing I have to say, the director of this movie, it's a woman, and I love that. And I was looking at pictures of her. I was like, she looks like a badass bitch. I want to meet her in person. But I think it's also her directorial feature debut too. And as a directorial feature debut, this is so impressive, especially on such a limited budget. Like a lot of these movies, usually like the acting feels hokey, or like it just feels kind of, you know, different moments can feel cheap or whatever. And I never felt that during this movie. It is a wonderfully directed film. The cinematography is great. The score is really good. I'm just shocked by that it's being released by such an independent studio because it is so polished.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I thought this was a really good directorial debut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we could jump into the flaws now.
Yes.
I don't know about you. I have 2 flaws, and then that's it. My first one is there are moments where I felt like the dialogue was a little stilted. And I was extremely impressed by the actors because they were really able to elevate the dialogue. Did you feel that at all?
A couple times I could see what you're saying. I actually probably didn't even think it in the time, but now I'm thinking back. I could kind of see what you're saying.
It's definitely more at the beginning of the movie, and maybe that's because I hadn't like settled into the film yet, but definitely the beginning of the movie I felt it a little bit more, and as the kids grew up, I felt it a lot less.
Yeah, like YA novel talk, which it is. I mean, it is, but
yeah,
like, it's like if they took it right from the novel. Yeah, like
that's how it felt. It felt very much so like we took that line from the novel. We want to use that in the movie, and then it's like, oh, don't think that works in like real life or in this like on the screen. You know?
Yeah, I could see. My thing was on the Tia. She had some really good dialogue, but at the same time, like it was almost like, oh, Aristotle, you're the most beautiful angel. You're the perfect person. She was always saying something deep and profound. I thought.
I love that about her, though. I love that character, and you'll see later on in the movie why. But I don't know. I feel like there's always someone like that in a family that just like talks like that almost. Like they're like way wiser beyond their years, and everyone kind of thinks they're kind of kooky, but they're really just extremely intelligent. I don't know. And my second flaw for the movie was kind of how I was talking about how the movie really captures how life moves by really fast. I thought that it just went by really fast. There was like all these milestones they were trying to hit, and I really just wanted to like live in those moments a little bit more. Like there was a party that he goes to, and they kind of make a big deal about it because Aristotle is so closed off. So for him going to a party, like a social gathering, is probably really intense and scary for him. And I wanted to see that more. I felt like they just like he was in the party, and then there was something else that happened that I'm not going to spoil, and then it was over, and then it's like on to the next milestone, and then it's like something terrible happens, and then that gets resolved quickly. So it felt like it was moving at such a rapid pace. I just wanted to live in those milestones and those moments a little bit more.
Yes, I agree. That was one of my flaws as well. And just it goes by. I know there's a lot of stuff to cover. Almost made like this would be maybe a better miniseries. So I wonder how the book handles that. So I'm looking forward to kind of reading the book.
I completely agree. I'm super excited to read the book.
Yes. And my other negative is, even though I liked some of the scenes, and I just did not want Dante to be gone. And so at the same time, even though it went through that fast, like it was like a year went by fast because they kept switching. I was like, I want Dante back though. So, but I agree with that.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think that it was so necessary though, because it really, that like, I'm going to use the word angst again, but that like angsty yearning feeling for somebody and someone's companionship, you like really feel it. And even though you want him to be there, I think that's a necessity, because once he returns and you see how much like Aristotle's grown up and Dante has grown up, it's like the world has completely changed, and it really mirrors real life, especially when you're in high school, so well. So I think it needed to happen, but I get what you mean. It definitely, Dante's absence was felt.
Yes. It also felt to me, so it was really, you could tell that Aristotle had liked him, at least as a friend. And then, but like Aristotle was writing so much less than Dante. And I know he literally says that he's not a big writer. He's not going to write him that much. But like he seemed to like not interested in what Dante was writing. So I was like, does he even like Dante anymore? At times, because there were times when I could definitely see him longing for that friendship to be back. But at times I was like, does he care anymore?
Yeah, so I get what you're saying. It's a really good point. For me, I took it as like Aristotle is such a closed off person, and I think I can say this without it being a spoiler, but it's like he learns it from his dad and his family as a whole. Like they keep so many secrets, and they like his dad is so closed off. He doesn't talk about anything. He keeps it inside, and like that's why Aristotle is drawn to Dante so much, because Dante is the oversharer. He's the one that's going to write a million times. And I think for Aristotle, like, of course he's not going to write as much, but he is going to hold that, like all of those letters dear to his heart. It's not like he's not reading them, you know, it's like he like leaves work to go hide in the alleyways so he can read the letter. Like, of course he's into it. He's just not going to write back as much because that's just kind of who he is, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point about him being more closed off. So it's almost like he doesn't know how to act at times,
right?
You know, when he does have a friend. So yeah, that's a good point. And you obviously see the ornament, the two shoes ornament, clean up.
See, Aristotle is someone that shows his love for somebody not through words but through actions, and I think that the movie does a really good job of portraying that. Especially
near the end, we won't.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I love how unpredictable this movie was. Like I didn't know what to expect because I hadn't read the book, but I was shocked. And I also feel this way about Perks of Being a Wallflower, even though I had read the book before watching that movie. Was just the amount of heaviness in this storyline. Like they do not pull any punches. There are going to be some jaw-dropping moments in this movie, and you're going to be like, whoa, like, that's a lot. But it does it in a way that feels like it never feels overbearingly heavy. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
There's still, like, this, like, airy, like, almost whimsical feel about the movie, even though there's still that heaviness of real life. So that balance is just so great.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've got through all of our thoughts on Aristotle and Dante, I want to know, what would you give it out of 5, Dan?
Ooh. This is hard. I think I'll give Aristotle and Dante 4.25 out of 5 stars.
Okay, I like it. I think we're pretty much on the same page. There are flaws, like we brought up. It's not a perfect movie, but I truly think just in the grand scheme of coming-of-age movies and really capturing that feeling of adolescence in a way that just is so fleeting and angsty and powerful, I just think this movie does it like few others have before. So for me, it's a 4.5 out of 5. And it is one of my favorite films of the year so far. I absolutely love it. I really hope people go and check this out. I don't even know if it's getting a wide release or if it's a limited release.
It's going to be in like 3-4 theaters near me. So
is it really? Okay, yes. Amazing. So hopefully Blue Fox is throwing out their money and they're getting this movie into as many theaters as possible, because it is 100% worth seeing. Even if you're not a huge fan of like the LGBTQ plus drama, like genre rather, this movie has so many other elements to it that you'll connect to, whether you are gay, straight, Mexican, American, any culture. Like, there's so many ways to connect to this movie. So I just think everyone should check it out.
Yes, definitely.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching Lost in the Real. I hope you enjoyed our review of Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. It is coming out this Friday, so make sure to check it out. And take care, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.